Ukrainian forces continue to defend Bakhmut, and the situation for defenders continues to be very difficult. In addition, the Russian army recently launched a new large-scale offensive against one of Ukraine's important fortifications, the town of Avdiivka. And finally, the Russian offensive near Kreminna, north of Bakhmut, also continues. Nevertheless, despite all the attacks by the Russians, the first hints of an imminent counteroffensive from Ukraine have emerged. What is happening now at the front, and whether it can be considered that Ukraine is ready to again reduce the situation to its own advantage. We will talk about this today. This is Conflict Report. I live in Kiev and tell you about the war through the eyes of an eyewitness. Over the past week, the Ukrainian command has moved large new reserves to the outskirts of Bakhmut. Several fresh battalions are directly in a small area that prevents a complete encirclement of the city. Their main task is to prevent Wagner's mercenaries from reaching the so-called Road of Life, which runs from Bakhmut westwards through Khromove. And so far, the defenders have been able to accomplish this task. At the same time, there are videos of Ukrainian counterattacks on Russian mercenary positions a few hundred meters from the road. To the southwest of Bakhmut, the defenders began a series of counterattacks near the road that goes to the town of Ivanivske. It has been very difficult for Ukraine to deliver reinforcements along this road for the past few weeks, as Russian mercenaries had previously managed to get close to this exit from the city. However, thanks to successful counterattacks near Ivanivske, Ukrainian armored vehicles were able to push the Russian military back from the forward positions. In other directions around the city and in the Bakhmut itself, things are not going so well for Ukraine. The Wagner group is making their way to the center of Bakhmut from the north and south. Most of the industrial zone to the north has been seized. Among them is the Artemivsk non-ferrous metals plant. In the south, the mercenaries have reached Mariupol Street, beyond which the centers directly begins. Fighting continues in the southwestern exit. Wagner's most significant advance happened north of Bakhmut. The mercenaries are advancing along the Bakhmut-Chasiv Yar railroad and have already got to Bogdanivka and Orikhovo-Vasilkivka, where they have reached the dominant heights. Now, there is a real threat not only of encircling Bakhmut, but also mercenaries reaching Chasiv Yar from the northeast. There was also a Russian military advance along the Bakhmut-Kramatorsk route, where the mercenaries captured the small village of Zaliznianske and also reached the dominant heights, Avdiivka. Russian forces began an offensive north and southwest of Avdiivka. Prior to this, the city and surrounding area had been subjected to daily airstrikes for several weeks. Sources on both sides reported significant advances north of Avdiivka. Apparently, the village of Krasnohorivka had been captured, and Russian forces had advanced further west of it. However, no visual confirmation has emerged for the week. Some Russian sources report that the Russian army only managed to occupy some streets of the village, rather than take it under full control. At the same time, these same sources say that the Russian army suffered heavy losses during the attack. Video has also emerged of the defeat of a Russian armored convoy between the settlements of Vodyane and Sieverne, southwest of Avdiivka. However, despite the heavy losses, in any case, the Russian offensive is creating a new crisis for Ukraine. Avdiivka is already semi-enclosed. The withdrawal of Ukrainian forces from it could lead to the collapse of the entire front north of Donetsk. To hold the city may require reserves, which Ukraine does not want to use before it launches its counteroffensive, although it was still forced to send some of them to hold Bakhmut. Zaporizhia Oblast. For the first time in a long time, Ukrainian troops launched a major attack in Zaporizhia region. Southeast of Orikhiv, Ukrainian units attempted several times to break through to the south along the road to Tokmak. The attacks were repulsed, and several Ukrainian vehicles were burned on the battlefield. It is possible that the attacks are a reconnaissance battle, or a diversionary strike designed to force the Russian command to transfer reserves to this area, while the main strike will take place elsewhere. One thing is certain. After several weeks of defense, we have begun to see the first attacks from the Ukrainian side. This means that the time is approaching for the large-scale counterattack, which has long been announced. With what success the offensive will be, we will see in the coming weeks. Write in the comments which direction you think Ukraine will choose to attack, and whether Russia will be able to keep the front line from breaking through. Also, if you want to support such reviews, you can do so via Patreon. The link is in the description, or right here on YouTube by clicking the join button. YouTube doesn't allow monetization of war-related videos, so your support is the only way to release such videos, and any support will be important. And that's it for now. Live in peace.